I'm here today at a Tesla Supercharger with my Ford F-150 Lightning, and that's because just last week, Ford gained access to the Tesla Supercharger network. And I'm here with the A2Z Typhoon adapter. We're gonna do a test on this adapter here today. I'm gonna charge my Lightning from 10% to 80% with the A2Z adapter, provided it works. We don't know if this works yet. We're gonna see how long it took. We're also going to be taking the temperature of this unit every 5 minutes with this infrared temperature, and then we're gonna plot out how hot the adapter gets. I'm then gonna repeat this test with the Electron adapter and also the official Tesla adapter. Those are gonna be separate videos. And then the final video, I'm gonna be comparing all the results. But here today, it's just A2Z Typhoon adapter day. And we're gonna see how this guy performs. So let's plug her in. Of course, I had to pull right up to the concrete barrier in order to get the cable to reach, and it barely reaches even at that. Some superchargers are a little bit better for this, but we understand Tesla is making an extension cable for vehicles like the Lightning that can't reach or can just barely reach. Okay, so let's plug it in. We take the Tesla connector, the NACS connector, and plug it into this side of the adapter. Then there's a lock underneath, which you have to manually do, and I don't like that. The other adapters automatically lock, but this one you have to manually flip this switch. And now when I plug in, the vehicle should automatically start charging because I have plug-in charge activated in my Lightning. And I'm activating it through the Ford Pass app. There's two different ways of doing this when you're charging Ford vehicles on the Tesla Supercharger network. You can either just pull up, if you have the Tesla app, and plug in and select the station, and then you'll pay through Tesla. But I'm doing this through my Ford Pass app, and I can hear the station turning on, the fans are on, the light is blinking, so it's working. Now I'm gonna take an initial temperature, 63 degrees, and that's at plug-in. I'll now measure the temperature every 5 minutes, because one of the concerns we have with these adapters is, you know, are they safe? Are they overheating? We really can't open them up and take a look at the innards. None of these adapters yet are officially UL certified. There is a UL certification process called 2552. It's a new UL standard. It's not officially complete yet, so none of the adapters can be officially certified. The Tesla adapter isn't officially UL certified yet, but from what I understand, the three biggest companies that are making these, Tesla, A2Z, and Electron, are all in the certification process, or at least building the units to conform with the UL certification. And once it's official and they can get them certified, they're all gonna do that. But as of now, none of these adapters are officially certified. So we're really trying to decide, if you want to go outside of the Tesla adapter and get a third-party adapter, are these guys safe? All right, so I'm going to let this guy charge from 10% to 80%. I'm going to record the charge session, and then we'll take a look at the results. Okay, before we jump into the review, I want to talk a little bit about approved and non-approved adapters. Those that follow my channel here on State of Charge know that a few months ago, I made a video that talked about the fact that some of the major networks in North America, Electrify America, EVgo, had banned the use of non-OEM sold adapters. Well, basically what they said was, if the adapter wasn't made by Tesla, it's banned from our network. Now, there was no way of actually enforcing that. It was more of a liability issue, saying, well, if something happens to your car or our chargers and you're using a non-approved adapter, you know, you're liable. We're not going to be liable for that. And the reason why I said it's basically only non-Tesla adapters, because at the time, these adapters were made so Tesla vehicles could charge on CCS1 stations. What we're talking about here is the opposite. CCS1 equipped vehicles charging on Tesla charging stations. And for the first time, there's an adapter that will allow that. But going back a little bit, the adapters that allowed Teslas to charge on non-Tesla chargers or CCS1 chargers. So Tesla put out an adapter that allowed their vehicles to do that. They sold the adapter. And then immediately the market was flooded with dozens and dozens of adapters made from really no-name companies, and some of them were super inexpensive and really low quality. So what Tesla did was said, look, we don't want you using any of these things. We're not going to take the time to check all of these adapters. So it's real easy, buy our adapter and just use that. And Electrify America and EVgo said, that's probably the right way to go because we're not going to spend all our time testing all these other adapters. Okay, so made that video and it actually received quite a bit of attention at the time. So now fast forward to today when we're going to do the opposite. Non-Tesla vehicles are going to be able to use Tesla Supercharger. So we need a different adapter. These are all brand new adapters. None of these have been on the market for more than a few weeks. Ford was the first company to be allowed access to the Tesla Supercharger network because they were the first company to say they were going to do it. So I think they had that in the deal that they'd be the first company to get access. Really soon, Rivian and General Motors and Volvo and Polestar are also going to get access to the Supercharger network. We don't know what their policies yet are going to be on adapters, but Ford's policy is that they only want you to use the official adapter that you get through them. Ford's giving it away for free, so if you own a Ford vehicle, there's not a real big reason for you to go out and buy an adapter these days. The only reason would be is that it's going to take a while for Ford to get these to their customers. It might be 6 or 7 months. So if people want access right now, Ford just doesn't have enough adapters. Well, Tesla's making the adapters. They can't make them fast enough. So I understand why people want to rush out and get a third-party adapter. But Ford's position is that they don't want you using it. And State of Charge is powered by Qmerit. After I've helped you decide which electric vehicle charging equipment you're going to buy, follow the link in the description of my videos and let the EV charging installation professionals at Qmerit install it. So I reached out to Ford and their official comment on it was this: Ford does not currently recommend any third-party adapter. To avoid the risk of serious injury and property damage, only use NACS DC adapters sold or provided by Ford for use at Tesla Superchargers. Okay, so that's Ford's position. What does Tesla have to say about this? Here's what's on Tesla's website. Third-party adapter policy. To avoid risk of serious injury and property damage, users of the Tesla charging stations may only use adapters sold or provided by Tesla or other automakers in the United States. Your use of any other adapter with Tesla's charging stations is strictly prohibited. And to be fair, I reached out to A2Z's CEO Amin Zator for comment on these non-approved adapter bans. We fully understand and respect the position taken by various OEMs regarding the utilization of third-party adapters, given the availability of dangerous adapters in the market that compromise safety. It's unfortunate, but true that many adapter manufacturers compromise on quality, using inferior materials and conductors, and neglecting essential safety features such as temperature sensor switches. There have been numerous instances where inexpensive adapters found on platforms like Amazon have been discovered lacking in temperature sensors or with low voltage wires inappropriately exposed near high voltage DC bus bars. Our NACS to CCS1 adapter, however, stands as a demonstration to safety and reliability. We based our different tests in accordance with standards such as SAE J1772-2012/UL 2251, IEC 62196-3, and the North American Charging Standard TS 0023666. During its development, we diligently adhered to the guidelines of the UL 2252 guideline, ensuring our adherence to its preliminary requirements in anticipation of its official release. once UL 2252 is formally introduced. We are committed to certifying our products accordingly. We applied and became a member of the SAE committee, which oversees standards such as J3400, to guarantee our compliance with safety and industry standards set by dedicated individuals and organizations. We want to assure our customers of our ongoing commitment to collaborate closely with OEMs to demonstrate the safety and reliability of our products. Our aim is to ensure the security of their customers and installations. While we would prefer prompt resolutions, the reality is that these processes are time-consuming, involving numerous stakeholders. Nonetheless, we are dedicated to the cause and will continue to strive for the quickest and most efficient outcomes possible. Okay, so both parties are making it clear that they only want you to use approved adapters. However, there's a little wiggle room there because, especially in Ford's statement, they talked about the currently approved adapters. I do believe that at some point in the future, both Tesla and other automakers are going to approve other third-party adapters. It might take a little while, but I think that they're already in the process of taking a close look at some of these third-party adapters and are going to say, well, you know, this one and this one is okay for you to use on our network also. The thing is, there's going to be dozens and dozens of these, and many of them are going to be super low quality. And it's honestly why that I've selected A2Z and also Lectron as third-party adapters for me to really take a good close look at and review, because both of those companies, in my opinion, at least in the past, have made high-quality electric vehicle charging adapters. And I trust those two companies, not some of the other companies that I'm seeing out there already. So that's why we're here today talking about A2Z. If this was something that, you know, right off the bat, I didn't want any part of it, I would not review it. I only gave them the time of day, honestly, because I know that their previous equipment that I've used was good quality equipment. Okay, so let's get back to this review. So I charged this on that charging station. As you saw, I plugged it in, and I also recorded the driver's display on my Lightning so we could just take a look at the charging session. Now, it took a total of 44 minutes to go from 10% to 80%. So I added 70% of the battery in 44 minutes. That's in line with some of my best charging times on 350 kilowatt Electrify America DC fast chargers. So quite honestly, charging on the Supercharger network with an adapter, or the A2Z adapter at least, is just as fast as any charging session that I get out of Electrify America stations. Maybe a minute or two difference. That's about it. And I also recorded the temperature of the adapter during that charging session. I kept searching for the hottest point, and I found it was actually on the right side of the adapter, on the top section right around here. That's where the internal pins, I guess, get closest to the outer casing. And I took the temperature with an infrared thermometer at start with 63 degrees, and then monitored it every 5 minutes of the entire charging session. And as you can see, the highest temperature that it achieved was 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, it was aided by the fact that it wasn't super hot outside. The charging session began, it was 55 degrees outside, and when it ended, it was 51 degrees outside with a little bit of a cool breeze. So I think that also helped to cool the adapter off a little bit. Not that much, but it definitely helped it a little bit. And this is well within the operating temperature of the adapter. And it's also well within the operating temperature allowed under UL 2252, which is still a work in progress, but they have outlined the temperatures that these adapters are allowed to reach. So let's take a look at those now. Okay, so this is the UL 2252's maximum surface temperature outline. Now, if you take a look at the right-hand side, you'll see non-metallic, because the composition of the surface of this adapter is plastic. It's high-density plastic. It's a very strong adapter. We'll talk about that later, but it's non-metallic. Okay, so for handles or knobs that are grasped for lifting, carrying, or holding, which in the case of this small adapter, I think that that's what we're talking about here. The non-metallic surface temperature shouldn't exceed 140 degrees Fahrenheit, so we're well below that. Now, if you look at the next line, handles or knobs that are contacted but do not involve lifting, carrying, or holding, cables, other surfaces subject to contact and user maintenance, that's a little higher, 185 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we come down here to surfaces subject to casual contact. It goes all the way up to 203 degrees Fahrenheit. So as you can see there, the temperatures that I observed on the exterior of this adapter are nowhere near the limit that UL has set for surface temperatures on these adapters. And quite honestly, it didn't even really feel that warm when I was feeling it. I think my CCS1 connector for Ford Charge Station Pro gets warmer than that when I'm charging at home on AC at about 18 kilowatts. So definitely no issue heat-wise that I've observed. It might be a little different in the summer when it's hot out and sun is baking on this. Of course, I'll do a follow-up video then, but I'm still a couple of months away from the temperatures getting that warm here in New Jersey. But for now, it passed my heat test. You know, I had set in my head a temperature of around 125, where I was going to be concerned if it exceeded that. But we're well below that. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no issue heat-wise, externally at least. And it's such a small adapter. If it was that much hotter on the inside, you'd be feeling it on the outside. And quite honestly, I believe they're designed to allow the heat to dissipate through the outside of the unit. You don't want to keep all that heat inside. The way these things are designed is you want the exterior to get warm, because that means the heat's dissipating and being released through the adapter. Okay, so next up, let's take a look at the key features for the A2Z NACS to CCS1 adapter. You can buy these through the A2Z website for $197. The maximum voltage is 1,000. The maximum amperage is 500. It weighs 1 pound, 11.4 ounces. The dimensions are 5 inches by 4¼ inches by 2 3/4 inch. The enclosure is IP54 rated, which is equal to a NEMA 3S rating. The operating temperature is 122 degrees Fahrenheit to -22 degrees Fahrenheit. The CCS1 lock is automatic. It's the same type of a rocker lock that you would see on a CCS1 connector. And the NACS lock is manual. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. It's a little sliding lock on the bottom of the unit. The unit is not UL listed, but the company claims it conforms to UL 2252 standards, which is what is going to be the eventual standard for these adapters. The fact of the matter is, none of these adapters are currently UL listed, so it's not like you can go out and get one, because UL hasn't formally adopted 2252, which is going to set the standards for adapter safety. It comes with a 1-year warranty, but that's against manufacturer defects. If you were to drop this and break it, you're not covered on that. And the unit is made in China. So I've used this adapter 5 times now. I used it a few times after I recorded that initial video, just to make sure there was no anomalies or anything. It's worked fine every time. It's delivered the power, hasn't gotten hot. I brought my infrared thermometer with me, and it's pretty much keeping along that same temperature. I haven't seen anything hotter than 108 degrees so far as a surface temperature. And it always seems to be the hottest point is right on this side of the adapter, right about here. The pins are probably located closest to that, because I searched the whole exterior of the adapter to get the hottest point. It seems like it's right in there. But as I said again, 108 degrees is really not that warm at all. The construction of the adapter, I'm satisfied with it. It feels like a really well-made, solid adapter. Quite honestly, it feels like it's better made than the Tesla adapter, which we're going to review next. Probably next week I'll have a review out on that. But the only thing I will say is that Tesla adapter that Ford gave me, Ford told me it's not going to be the final product. That Tesla shipped them a bunch of, they're almost like pre-production. So the final one might be better. When they have those, they're not even ready yet. Ford's going to give it to me, and I'm going to give them back this one that they gave me. So I'm going to hold off judgment on that adapter. I'm not going to review it until I get the permanent one yet. If it takes too long, I guess I'll review that one and then re-review it. But the goal ultimately is for me to provide this review, then review the Electron adapter, and then the Tesla adapter, and then do a review with all three of them side by side and talk about the positives and negatives for all three adapters. Okay, so as you can see, the top here has the rocking lock, which is to lock the connector to the vehicle. If you depress this, charging stops. Then you have on the other side, on the underneath, where the NACS connector goes in. Now you can't just push it in. Well, you can. You can't push it in if it was locked. When this tab below is pushed forward in the lock position, and I'll take this out, I'll lock it. Now, see, it won't go in because a little tab on the inside lifts up when you lock it and fits in the bottom of the NACS or Tesla connector, just like what happens when you're supercharging. Something from inside your vehicle lifts up if you have a Tesla vehicle and locks in there. You need it on this here because it's not going directly into a vehicle. So anyway, this slides in. You have to unlock it. It slides in, and then you have to pull this lock towards you to lock it. This is the, if you want to say, Achilles heel of this adapter. The one thing that I'm not thrilled about is you have to manually lock it closed. If you forget to do that, it will not charge. And if you were to unlock this while the vehicle is actively charging, it will immediately shut off power. And that's to prevent you from being able to pull out while it's live. That's really a big issue, and that's one of the biggest safety concerns of some of these adapters that maybe aren't really engineered well. But you can't do that with the A to Z adapter. You cannot. There's no way to unplug this thing hot from either side. Once you unlock either side, it's going to shut off power immediately. So this slides in, and then you have to pull this towards you. And the one thing that I don't like about it is, I mean, for safety, it's fine because the car won't charge if it's unlocked. But one of the times that I went to use it at the station, I forgot to do that. I forgot to lock it. I plugged it in. Of course, the car won't charge, and I'm getting the red lights on my Lightning. They're blinking, and I'm like, wow, this adapter failed. There's something wrong with it. It's not working, but it was me. I failed. I didn't lock it. So, you know, I don't think that's the most convenient thing that you have to manually lock it. The other two adapters that we have, you don't have to manually lock it. They're going to automatically snap into place and lock it. So that's something that I'd like to see A to Z improve. That's probably the only thing. Everything else seems to be super robust on this unit here. There's two temperature sensors inside that's going to shut off power if it exceeds the internal limits. And I talked to A to Z about this. I'm not going to go into it too much now because if you're really interested in that, how it was constructed, watch my interviews that I've done with the A to Z CEO. I'll put links to them in the description of this video. We talk about engineering and some of the things they've done to really make sure that this is safe. But there are two temperature sensors on it that'll shut off power if it exceeds it. And one of the things I will say about it is that A to Z has told me that they've tested this at like 690 amps, way more than what it's supposed to be able to accept. And they still weren't able to hit the internal temperature limits. They're confident that under any circumstance, this is not going to ever derate or shut off because the way it's engineered, it's not going to hit the temperature limits that's set for safety on the inside. So, okay, it worked fine for me. It delivered the power that I hoped it would. It's well made. At this point, I'm not going to say don't buy this adapter. I'm not going to endorse it and tell people to buy it, but I feel confident using this. At this point, I haven't learned anything or found out anything about it yet to say stay away from it. It's unsafe. So I know while Tesla and Ford and perhaps some of the other OEMs are going to say it wasn't an approved adapter, so we don't want you to use it, I think the jury's out on that. And as I said earlier, I think we're going to get to a point where some of these OEMs are going to endorse some other third-party adapters. They're going to take a look at some of the more popular ones, inspect them, and if they meet their safety standards, say, okay, this one is okay to be used on our network. And I think perhaps A to Z and perhaps Electron might be in that category that they will say, okay, you know, you can use these on the network. We endorse them. We've fully tested them. But this is also new now. Tesla and Ford and the other OEMs, they don't have time to be testing all these other third-party adapters. That's going to come in time. It may take months. It may never happen. But if it does happen, I do think that A to Z is one of the adapters that has a chance of having the OEM say, you know what, we still prefer you buying the adapter from us, but if you were to use this one, we're not going to tell you you're not allowed to because it is properly engineered. And that's where I'm at with the A to Z adapter at this point. As I said, my mind might change, but where we are right now, I don't see any problem with using this as long as you're comfortable with using an adapter that the network has told you you shouldn't be using. What's the problem? What's the downside? If there's a problem, if something happens, Tesla and Ford or whatever other manufacturer that a vehicle that you use, they do have some sort of a out to say, well, we're not going to cover this, or you're liable for damage to the vehicles. I don't really know what type of investigation would be held at that point and how they would prove that you were using a different adapter if you just, said that you had this problem or the car broke. I don't know what type of investigation they're going to do to prove that you were using a non-certified adapter. These things are just passive. There's really no way of knowing which adapter you were using. I don't believe there is, at least at this point, but you do what's comfortable for you. I know some of my followers that are going to get free adapters. Let's say they own Ford products and they've said, look, I'm going to get my free Ford adapter, but if it's going to take 7 months to get it, I don't want to wait 7 months. I want to use one right now. Which adapters do you say are safe? I'm no engineer, but I'm comfortable using this adapter. You're going to have to wait for the next video to see my feelings on the Electron adapter. It's probably going to come out in less than a week. Then we're going to go from there and do a comparison on all 4 of them. But for now, I can't find really much fault in this. I hope they make a different switch on the bottom. But other than that, seems like it's a pretty good, well-made adapter. And I have no problem using this myself. Listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.